So we're going to our next chapter over here, S block elements. This is unit 11 of class 11. Okay. Now over here we'll be talking of S block elements. In case of S block elements, the differentiating electron or the last electron that is going to enter into the S subshell. It is present when you're looking at the periodic table. It is present at the extreme left hand side of the periodic table. Now as you know that the S can accommodate only 2 electrons, therefore over here the S block elements will have only 2 groups, right? One group in which the general electronic configuration, that is going to be NS1, and the second group in which the general electronic configuration, that is going to be NS2. So over here in both the cases, the differentiating electron that is going to enter into the S subshell. So when we are talking of NS1, that is known as group 1 of the periodic table, right? Now group 1 of the periodic table, that is also known as alkali metals, because the members of this group, they dissolve in water to form alkalis. Alkalis, they are soluble bases. So that is how they get the name alkali metals, right? The second group, which is known as the group 2, these are known as alkaline earth metals. So we have alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. Let's see the members of both these groups. In case of alkali metals, we have lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. Over here, francium, the last element that is going to be radioactive in nature. So we are going to restrict our studies from lithium to cesium, because francium, that is going to be short-lived, that keeps on disintegrating. Okay, so we cannot study the chemistry of francium. The next we have over here is alkaline earth metals. Alkaline earth metals consist of the following members. We have beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium. So these are going to be the members over here: beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium. Again, radium over here, this is going to be radioactive in nature and hence it is going to be short-lived. So we need to study both these groups under this chapter, S block elements, in which we will study their periodicity in properties. We will study the chemical properties, the general chemical properties of both the groups, and then we will also study certain important commercial compounds which are going to be present in both the groups with their properties and uses. So let's go on to the first, alkali metals and their compounds. That is the first section of this chapter. So when we are talking of alkali metals and their compounds, in this case all the elements of group 1A except for hydrogen, they are going to be known as alkali metals, as I just told you, because they dissolve in water to make alkaline solutions. That is how they get the name alkali metals. They all are going to be soft and silvery metals, right? They are all soft and silvery metals. Now, valence electron, electronic configuration, the general electronic configuration, that is going to be NS1, and elements we've already done: lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. Now the word alkali, that has been derived from an Arabic word eliqui. Eliqui means what? Eliqui means it means ashes of plants and animals. So basically this is an Arabic word which means ashes of plants and animals. Why did they get this name? Because 2 members of this family, sodium and potassium, both of these elements, they are generally seen or generally found from the ashes of plants and animals. So that is how they got the name alkali metals. Okay, eliqui, from the word eliqui. Now they are most reactive amongst all. They are very, very reactive. The reason behind that is that they have only one electron in the outermost shell, and by losing that one electron, they are going to reach or attain the nearest noble gas configuration. Therefore, they are very, very reactive. Specifically, when we are talking of sodium and potassium, they are highly reactive when exposed to air and water. They are going to catch fire. So that is the reason why both these metals, sodium and potassium, they are stored under kerosene, right? So they are going to be stored under kerosene because of their high reactivity with air and water. Of all alkali metals, only sodium and potassium, they are going to be found in abundance. Rest all are found in traces. It is only sodium and potassium which are going to be found in abundance. Rest all they are going to be sodium, that is the 7th most abundant element, and potassium, that is the 8th most abundant element which is found on the Earth's crust, and francium, as I just told you, that is going to be radioactive. So when we are looking at the electronic configuration of each of these, the electronic configuration of lithium is helium 2s1. So if it loses this one electron from S, it will attain the nearest noble gas configuration of helium. Then we have sodium, neon 3s1, potassium, argon 4s1, potassium के बाद आ गया rubidium, krypton 5s1, then we have cesium, xenon 6s1, and francium, which is going to be radon 7s1. So this is the electronic configuration. Now over here it will be seen that lithium, that is going to show certain abnormal properties than the rest of the elements. The reason behind this is that it has a very, very small size and it has quite a high ionization energy. So because of its electronic configuration, it is going to show certain different behavior than the rest, which we will definitely study when we progress through the chapter. So let's go on to our first topic over here, which is physical properties. When we go into the physical properties of this group, number one, all the alkali metals, they are silvery white soft metals. They are going to be silvery white soft metals, and they are so soft that they can be easily cut with a knife, right? They can be easily cut with a knife, except lithium, which is a little harder than the rest of them, and lithium cannot be cut with a knife. Now, due to the presence of a single electron, they have weak metallic bonding, and because of this weak metallic bonding, they are going to be soft and they are not hard. Okay? Now over here, the softness that is going to increase, softness increases with increase in atomic size. So as we keep going down the group, the size will increase and hence the softness that is also going to increase, right? Why? Because when the size that becomes bigger, the intermetallic forces, they are also going to become still weaker. So that is why the softness that will keep on increasing. Then we go on to the atomic and ionic radii. are going to have the largest size in their respective horizontal period. Because you know that as we traveling along the period, we've done in chapter 3, as we keep traveling along the period, the nuclear charge that will keep on increasing and hence the size that will keep on decreasing. So when we are moving along the period, the size keeps on decreasing. Therefore, they have the largest sizes in the periodic table. And this large size is due to less nuclear charge. Right? Now when the outermost electron is removed, okay, when the outermost electron is removed, that is when we're talking of lithium over here, when it loses one electron to form Li positive, it is having the size of helium, or it has the entire shell you can see over here that is going to be removed. So if you're going to 2s1 and it is losing one electron, the entire 2s shell that is going to be removed. Similarly, in case of Na, the entire 3s is going to remove. Now over here the size, because the entire shell is getting removed, the size decreases considerably. So to quite an extent, the size that is going to decrease. Therefore, Li positive that is going to have a very small size with respect to lithium. Okay, so the reason behind that is that the shell or electron has been completely removed. And now also the effective nuclear charge in this case is going to increase because the nuclear charge that is now acting on lesser number of electrons. So if you're looking at lithium electronic configuration, first it was the same nuclear charge that was acting on 3 electrons. Once one electron has been removed, the same nuclear charge that is acting on 2 electrons. Right? So the effective nuclear charge will also increase, and also the shell, one shell that is completely removed. Therefore, Li positive that is going to have small size with respect to Li. In other words, or in general, we can say that as we keep going down the group, the size that will keep on increasing. So lithium is going to be smallest, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and then of course francium. The reason behind that is introduction of a new principal shell. If you're going from lithium to sodium, we are entering into the 3rd shell, then potassium to 4th shell, rubidium to 5th shell, cesium to 6th, and francium to 7. Okay, so we are introducing a new shell. That is how the size that will keep on increasing. Now because the size increases, the volume will also increase, right? So the volume increases in the same pattern. Volume will also increase from lithium to sodium to potassium to rubidium and to cesium. The volume will also keep on increasing. Then the next property which we are going to discuss, that is density. We know that density that is equal to mass upon volume. So if we are going down the group from lithium to francium, the mass that is going to keep on increasing and the volume also that is increasing. So when we are going on to the net effect of both, what is going to happen to density? Mass is increasing, therefore density will increase. Volume is increasing, therefore density will again increase. So in this case, as we keep going down the group, density that will keep on increasing. Now over here there is one anomalous trend, so this is going to be important. It is seen that potassium has abnormally a lower density than sodium. So the trend which is going to be followed over here is this. Now why this is happening? The reason behind this is that when you go over here, we are going from sodium to potassium. What will happen? The size that should increase. But it is seen that the size, instead of, even if it is increasing, it is not increasing to a great, you can say, to a great distance or to a great part. Why? Because after filling 3s over here, we are also going to fill up 3d over here. So when we are filling 3d that is going to have a poor shielding effect. As a result of which, it is going to attract the outermost shell with greater force. So the size of potassium increases, but the size does not increase to a great extent. So as a result of which, what happens to the volume? Atomic volume, that is going to increase, but not to a very large extent. So that is the reason if you get a trend of density of the alkali metals, please remember after lithium, potassium has a greater density, then sodium, then rubidium and then cesium. Okay? Then the next point, next property which we are going to do, that is melting and boiling points. So when we are doing melting and boiling points over here, it is seen that the energy binding the atoms in crystal lattice is going to be relatively low because of only one electron which is present in the outermost shell. Therefore, on account of single electron in the valency shell, as the size will keep on increasing, the melting and boiling points, they will keep on decreasing because the metallic bonding that is becoming weaker and weaker. So over here, lithium that is going to have the maximum melting boiling point. Then we have sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. Okay? So the metallic point that will, melting point and boiling point that will keep on decreasing down the group because of the weaker metallic bonding with increase in size. Okay? Then next we come to ionization energies and electropositive character. Okay. So we're going on to the next property over here. Electropositive character. Electropositive character is also known as metallic character. Any atom or any element which has a tendency to lose electrons, it will go into the electropositive state. So if it is going to the electropositive state, that means it is going to exist as a metal. Because metals, they have a tendency to lose electrons. Now losing of electron depends upon what? It is going to depend upon ionization energy. Lower the value of ionization energy, more easily the electron that can be removed and more is going to be the electropositive character. Right? Now basically what is ionization energy? It is the energy required to remove an electron from the outermost shell of an isolated gaseous atom. Right? So as the energy is required over here, the value of ionization energy, that is going to be always positive. This we studied in our chapter 3, periodicity. Okay. So when we are talking of ionization energy over here, ionization energy we know is inversely proportional to size. Now we've already spoken about the fact that the alkali metals, they are going to have the largest size in the periodic table. Therefore, they are going to have the lowest value of ionization energies. And if they are having the lowest value of ionization energy, they are going to be most metallic. Okay, they are going to be most metallic. Now over here it is seen that as we keep going down the group, what is happening to atomic size? It is increasing. Therefore, the trend of ionization energy, that will be lithium will have the highest value of ionization energy and hence the energy keeps on decreasing as we keep moving down the group. Okay? So ionization energies over here is low, as a result of which they can be easily converted to N positive ions, as a result of which they are highly electropositive, and because of high electropositive character, they are going to be highly metallic. Okay? So this is what we are talking of ionization energies over here. Now potassium and cesium, because of the very low values of ionization energy, they are used in photovoltaic cells. photovoltaic cells due to low ionization energy. The principle of photoelectric effect that is going to be used, that whenever intensity of suitable radiation or wavelength of suitable radiation frequency, which is known as threshold frequency, that falls on the surface of a metal, an electron that is going to be ejected. Now when that electron is ejected, that electron that is responsible for conduction of electricity. Okay? So that is what potassium and cesium, they are going to be used over there because of low values of ionization energy. Then the next property which we are going to discuss, that is oxidation states. Now these all are going to be unipositive elements or univalent positive elements, which means that they can have only one positive charge. The reason behind that is that they have only one electron in the valence shell, which when lost, they are going to enter into the nearest noble gas configuration. So the only oxidation state which is going to be possible over here is going to be +1. And it is seen over here that the first ionization energy, that is the energy required to remove the first electron, that is going to be very, very low as compared to the second ionization energies. To remove the second electron in case of alkali metals, it is very, very difficult. Therefore, the +2 oxidation state in this case cannot occur. It can have only one oxidation state in which the one electron which is going to be removed and the element of the metal that is going to attain the nearest noble gas configuration. For example, if you are talking of lithium, it has the electronic configuration of helium. If we are talking of sodium, it has the electronic configuration of neon, and so on, right? Now, energy required to pull out the electron, as I just told you, for the second electron, that is going to be very, very high. So the +2 oxidation state is not possible in case of alkali metals. Okay, so over here, as the electronic configuration of the unipositive ion, that is going to be similar to those of inert gases. They have no unpaired electrons at all. As they have no unpaired electrons, all of them, they are going to be colorless and all of them, they are going to be diamagnetic. What do we understand by diamagnetic over here? Substances, you've already done in your molecular orbital theory that all substances which are having at least one unpaired electron, that is going to be attracted by the magnetic field, and they are said to be paramagnetic in nature. And all those which have all paired electrons, they are going to be repelled by the magnetic field and they are going to be diamagnetic in nature. So over here, because just by losing one electron, if you're talking of Li positive, it's going to have a chica electronic configuration, which is going to have all paired electrons. So all paired electrons, therefore it is going to be diamagnetic. So as a result, if you're keeping it in a magnetic field, what is going to happen? It is going to be repelled by the magnetic field. Color also depends upon the excitation of the electrons from a lower energy level to a higher energy level. Now in this case, they are attaining the nearest noble gas configuration. There is no unpaired electrons present. Hence, the electrons, they cannot jump to higher energy levels. Therefore, they are going to be colorless. Okay, so this is one property over here. Then the next property which we are going to discuss is very, very important, because on the basis of that we are going to discuss the reduction potential values of all the alkali metals. So let's go on to the next property, hydration of ions, hydrated radii and hydration energy. Next one which we have is hydration of ions, hydrated radii and hydration energy. So this is going to be the next topic, which is very, very important over here. Now we already know that the salts of alkali metals, all of them, they are going to be ionic in nature because they have a tendency to lose one electron because of their low ionization energy values. Okay. Now over here, obviously if they are all ionic, it is understood that all are going to be soluble in water because of their ionic character, right? So why are they soluble in water? The reason behind that is that the cations of this particular group, they have the tendency to get hydrated, right? They have a tendency to get hydrated. So by water molecules, which means if we have N positive ion, we are putting it in aqueous medium. This is going to give us hydrated cation, which may be represented as hydrated cation, right? Now it is seen that smaller the size of the cation, smaller the size of the cation, larger is its tendency to get hydrated. Right? Larger is going to be the tendency to get hydrated over here. So degree of hydration should decrease from lithium to cesium, isn't it? So we say that the expected trend to get hydrated should be lithium being the smallest size, that should be most easily hydrated, then sodium, then potassium, then rubidium, and then cesium. So this should be the expected trend over here. Okay, so in a similar manner, the size of the hydrated ion should also decrease in the same manner, isn't it? Because the size of the cation that is decreasing in this manner, size of the cation that is, the size of the hydrated cation that is going to be decreased in this manner. Okay, now what happens to the ionic conductance? It is seen that larger the size, okay, larger the size, smaller is going to be the conductivity. Larger the size, smaller is going to be so therefore ionic conductance should follow an opposite trend than the size of the hydrated ion. Lithium has the highest size of the hydrated ion, therefore it is going to have the least conductivity. So we have lithium positive, then sodium positive, then potassium positive, then rubidium positive, and then cesium positive. Now please do not get confused between the sizes of the cation and the hydrated cation over here. If you are looking at the size of the cation, the size of the cation should follow an opposite trend. Lithium should have the smallest size and cesium should have the largest size. But when we are talking of hydrated ion is this. In case of hydrated ion, lithium has the largest size of hydrated ion. Okay? Because what are we saying? Smaller the size, larger is the tendency to get hydrated. So lithium has the smallest size, it will have the largest tendency to get hydrated, as a result of which the radius of the hydrated ion that is going to increase. So lithium hydrated, this is the trend of the hydrated ion which we are discussing over here. Lithium hydrated is going to have the largest size and cesium hydrated that is going to have the least size. Okay, and the conductivity will be opposite to the hydrated ion, size of the hydrated ion, because if the size that is going to be larger, it will be difficult for it to move. So lithium having the largest size over here as hydrated ion, it will have the least conductivity. Okay? Is it clear? Okay. So now over here, basically what is hydration energy? What is hydration energy? Now hydration energy, it is the energy released. So it is going to be negative. Hydration energy is the amount of energy released when 1 gram mole of an ion is dissolved in water to get it hydrated. So 1 gram mole of an ion is dissolved in water to get it hydrated. That is known as hydration energy. So hydration energy, that will again decrease in the same order as you are seeing over here. More easily a hydrated ion is formed, more negative is going to be its hydration energy. So when we talking of hydration energy that will keep on decreasing as we keep going down the group. So the tendency to form hydrated ions will also keep on decreasing as we are going down the group. Is it clear? Then the next property which we have, that is electronegativity. Electronegativity as such does not make any sense with respect to alkali metals, because all of them, they are going to be electropositive in nature. But in general it is seen that the electronegativity keeps on decreasing down the group. So if we are looking at the trend of electronegativity over here, lithium is going to be most electronegative. Greater the value of ionization energy, more is the electronegativity. Okay? So lithium will have higher electronegativity, then sodium, then potassium, then rubidium, and then it is going to be cesium. So this is what electronegativity trend is. Then we have the next one, that is conductivity. They all are good conductors. They all are going to be good conductors of heat and electricity. This is because of presence of loosely held valence electrons. Because their ionization energy is quite less, the electron that can be easily removed, therefore they have high conductivities. However, the conductivity should keep on decreasing down the group. Okay? When we are taking it in aqueous state, it is increasing down the group. If we are taking it in metallic state, it is decreasing down the group. Okay? So aqueous solution में, because they can only conduct electricity in the molten, all of them they are metal, so they can also conduct electricity in the solid state, but the conductivity is not very large. Okay, so they conduct electricity better in the aqueous state, and conductivity, as you've already seen, that it will keep on increasing down the group. Then we have flame coloration. This is another important topic. All of them are going to give specific color to the flame. The reason behind this is that they have low ionization energies, and the electrons, they can jump to higher energy level on getting excited. After that, they are going to release energy and fall in the visible region. Okay, so when we are talking of lithium, lithium has a very high ionization energy. So you know again that energy that is equal to H upon mv, Hc upon lambda. So energy is inversely proportional to lambda. If the energy is going to be high, the wavelength emitted is going to be low, right? So we are looking at VibGyor over here. Because lithium has a very high value of ionization energy, so its lambda is going to be small. Therefore, it gives a crimson red color. It gives a crimson red color to lithium. ठीक है? फिर उसके बाद sodium gives a yellow, golden yellow color to the flame, right? Then we have potassium, pale violet. Potassium, that is going to give pale violet. Then we have rubidium, which is going to give reddish violet. And finally we have cesium, which is going to give violet. So it depends upon the energy. Lithium has the highest ionization energy, so it is going to fall in the crimson red region. ठीक है? Whereas cesium, that is going to have low value of ionization energy, therefore it is falling in the violet region. Okay, so basically it is the emission of radiation which is going to give color and not the radiation which they absorb. This we've already done, right? Then after that we come to the reducing nature, the last property which we are going to discuss. This is a very, very important property of alkali metals. Now all of them, they are going to be highly reactive. Okay, so when we are looking at the electrochemical series, they are going to be, you can say, they are going to be at the bottom of the EMF series. Okay, now if they are at the bottom of the EMF series, it means that they have very high electronegativity, very high electrical reactivity, or very high reactivity, chemical reactivity, as a result of which they have very high positive values of oxidation potentials or very low negative values of reduction potentials. So when we are talking of reducing nature over here, the reducing nature element is due to low value of ionization energy. So because they all have low value of ionization energy, they are going to behave as strong reducing agents. All of them, they are going to behave as strong reducing agents. If we are looking at the expected value or expected order depending upon the ionization energy, lower the ionization energy, better is the reducing character. So expected is depending upon the ionization energy, lithium should be, then sodium, then potassium, then rubidium, then cesium. But it is seen that the reducing nature does not follow this trend. So if you are looking at the reduction potential values of each of this, it is seen that lithium has the least or the most negative reduction potential value, according to which it should be the strongest reducing agent. But over here, according to the ionization energy, the trend which we are following is that it is the least reducing agent. So what is happening over here, let's see. When we are talking of the values of reduction potentials, reduction potential value is derived of the fact of the ease with which it is reducing other elements and self getting oxidized. Oxidation means to lose an electron, and losing of electron will depend upon the ionization energy. So cesium, having the lowest value of ionization energy, should lose the electron most easily, and hence it should behave as the best reducing agent. But the trend which we will see is going to be quite different. That is because lithium has a reduction potential of minus 3.05, which is the least amongst all the elements of the periodic table. So this is going to behave as the best reducing agent. ठीक है? फिर उसके बाद we have sodium minus 2.71, then we have potassium minus 2.92, we have rubidium minus 2.93, and we have cesium which also has minus 2.92. Now what is happening over here, such that the reduction potentials are opposing the expected trend. According to this, lithium should have the maximum value of reducing. So let's see that what is happening over here. Whenever oxidation is taking place, okay, so whenever oxidation is taking place, oxidation means metal in the gaseous state will lose one electron to go into M positive state. Okay? This is how oxidation that is going to take place. While oxidation potential which is taking place, that is going to involve the following change. That is M solid minus 1 electron to go into M positive aqueous state. So the first trend is according to the first equation. The second values is according to the second equation. Now the second equation, that is going to be fulfilled in 3 different steps. Because a solid metal cannot lose electrons. It has to be converted into the gaseous state. Right? So let's see what are the 3 steps in which this particular reaction or this particular change is going to take place. The first step over here, that is going to be M solid will change into M gaseous, and the energy which is required for this that is sublimation energy. ठीक है? The second step is now this gaseous state M gaseous will lose 1 electron to go into M positive state, and the energy which is required over here is going to be ionization energy. Okay, and then the third state, this M positive, that is now going to get hydrated. So M positive over here plus, this is gaseous, right, plus aqueous. This is going to get converted into M aqueous, and the energy which is required or released over here, that is hydration energy. So in order to go to this particular reaction, we have to take the effect of all these energies which are going to take place. And the one which has the least value of this energy will behave as the best reducing agent. So we are just going to compare 3 metals over here, lithium, sodium and potassium. Now over here we will see that when we are talking of step 1, we are going to compare the energies in all the 3 steps. And step 3, okay? So we are taking the energies of lithium, we are taking the energies of sodium, and we are taking the energies of potassium. In case of lithium, the energy that is going to be equal to plus 122 kilojoules. That is, the sublimation energy is 122. In case of lithium. In case of sodium, it is only 78 kilojoules. So it is quite less. And in case of potassium, it is even lesser, 61 kilojoules. When we go to the ionization energy is going to be the highest for lithium, so it is 520 kilojoules. Again, this is also positive. Okay? Sodium ki ionization energy is 496, and that of potassium is lower, 490. So it means it is the hydration energy which is going to have the maximum effect over here. Isn't it? So let's go on to step 3. In this case, the hydration energy is minus 506. Hydration energy is going to be negative. So minus 506, and then that of sodium is minus 406, and that of potassium is minus 330. Okay, so when we are looking at the net effect over here, in the first case, when you calculate it, it is coming to 136 kilojoules. In case of sodium, it is 168 kilojoules, and in case of 150 kilojoules. So according to this data, when we are looking over here, the highest value, the lowest value is that for lithium. So lithium, that is going to be the best reducing agent, and after that is going to be potassium, and after that, that is going to be sodium. So now if you are looking at the oxidation potential values which you had seen that for lithium it was minus 3.91, for potassium it was minus 2.92, and for sodium it was minus 2.71. So it means higher the negative value of reduction potential, better is the reducing agent. So over here, according to the data which we have calculated, As lithium has the lowest value of energy, it is going to have the maximum value of reduction potential. After that potassium, and after that sodium. Okay? So this is one thing which helps you in your this thing electrochemistry, the chapter which you will do in your class 12 also, and also the redox reactions which we've already done. The electrochemical cell of redox reactions, in that also this data that helps you to a greater extent. Okay? So today we are going to do only till here. Alright?